Hello everyone, so today I'll be reviewing All About Eve. So All About Eve was directed by Joseph L. Frankiewicz and stars Bette Davis and Anne Baxter. And in this film we see Bette Davis play an aging theatre star called Margo Channing, and we then get introduced to Anne Baxter's character, who is Eve Harrington. And Eve Harrington, she really worships Margo Channing, so she goes to all her performances and she really looks up to Margo as a bit of a role model, really. So eventually Eve meets Margo and Eve ends up becoming Margo's assistant, and eventually Eve works her way into becoming an actress herself, taken after Margo. Now at the start we see Eve as a character is very innocent, very sweet and very likeable, almost a bit bittersweet, but generally quite harmless. And eventually we see her character sort of change and find out who she really is and what her plan is. We see that she really knows what she is doing. She's actually very manipulative and very conniving and willing to hurt as many people as well, willing to hurt people along the way, as long as it moves her career forward and gets her in a good place. So this film was actually nominated for 14 Oscars, which was a record at the time, and it wasn't matched until Titanic came out in 1997, and then matched again when La La Land came out in 2016. And this film holds the record for the most female Oscar nominations. So there's 2 for Best Actress and 2 for Best Supporting Actress. So Bette Davis and Anne Baxter were both nominated for Best Actress, and also Celeste Holm and Thelma Ritter were both nominated for Best Supporting Actress, all from this film. And this film did win the Oscar for Best Picture as well. So this film came out in 1950, which was actually the same year as another film about an aging Hollywood star, Sunset Boulevard. And as such, these films are often compared to each other. I would say I probably do think Sunset Boulevard is the slightly better film, although they are both very, very good films. I think Sunset Boulevard's a bit better about showing the effect of Hollywood on the actors and actresses as a whole, and how it can harm them mentally, I suppose. Whereas what this film is very good at is showing what people do to get what they want, especially in theatre. Although I say this about Hollywood, it's not really about Hollywood, it's more about acting and theatre in general. So Bette Davis is very good as this, as Margo Channing, because Margo Channing as a character, she turns 40 years old in this film, and she's very well aware of the fact that she is getting older, and she's still playing a character in a play which is supposed to be 24, 25. So that when Eve comes in, who's obviously a much younger character, 24 years old, Margo obviously really starts to feel jealous and under pressure from a younger star. And Eve as a character, we see her come in, eventually very innocent, but then it is really only Thelma Ritter's character and then later Margo Channing who see Eve for who she really is, very manipulative character. Now I must also mention George Sanders' character, Addison DeWitt. He's a theatre critic, and George Sanders is very, very good in this film. He does a very good performance actually. So Addison DeWitt, he's a theatre critic, and what he does is he helps aspiring actors and actresses make their way into the theatre and can help them become successful, because he knows all the right things to say, all the right things to do in order to get where you want. And he ends up being very important towards the end of the film. I won't really spoil it because I can't really say too much without spoiling the end, but he has a very good bit in this film also with relation to Eve Harrington. I must also mention in this film we do get a brief appearance of Marilyn Monroe. This was one of Marilyn Monroe's earliest on-screen appearances. She doesn't really have very much to do in this film. She doesn't really have a very big part, but it's still worth noting anyway that Marilyn Monroe appears in it. So overall, one of the best things about this film is the different characters. Obviously, all the characters that I've just mentioned, they're all very different. They all link together in some way, but they all have their unique personalities and they all stand out in different ways. And quite a lot of the time, they see things from a different perspective. So we also have Margo Channing's husband, well, or fiance, boyfriend, and then we have Celeste Holmes' character and her husband as well. And this dynamic of everyone coming together in these different scenes and, you know, having a bit of arguments all about Eve a lot of the time. And they all seem to have a different perspective of Eve as a character. Obviously, the film is called All About Eve, and the reason is that most of the focus of this film is on Eve. Although actually Eve isn't necessarily the main character, well, she's one of the main characters. Really, Margo Channing is the main character. Most of the film focuses on her view of Eve as a person. So overall, I think I do really like this film. I enjoyed it probably more than I thought, to be honest. So this was the first time I'd seen it. I didn't really know much about it before, apart from that Bette Davis was in it. It was one of those films that maybe didn't look that appealing to me. It didn't look like the most exciting film, but as a drama film from the 1950s, I think it's actually very good, and I think it's worth watching. Might not be to everyone's taste, but if you like 1950s films and you like dramas, definitely give this a watch because it is very entertaining indeed, and it's all very interesting the way the characters interact with each other and what they have to show. And the end scene is also very good. Again, I won't spoil it, but it is absolutely fantastic. It just wraps everything up very well indeed, and yeah, I was very impressed with it. So I'm going to give All About Eve a rating of 8 out of 10. So there we go. So that is All About Eve. So what did you guys think of it? Have you seen it? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.